I stood in the middle of the living room, dripping from the rain. My shoes left muddy prints on the marble floor. My mother's eyes narrowed. "Ethan," she said coldly, "must you bring the street into this house?" "I just lost my job, Mom," I said quietly. I needed to talk. Lucas leaned back on the sofa, swirling a glass of wine. "Talk about what?" "How you failed again." I swallowed hard. I didn't fail. The company downsized. I'll find something else. My father sighed, not even looking at me. We've heard that before. Sophie stood near the fireplace, her arms crossed. She looked beautiful even in that cruel moment. "Ethan, we talked about this. You said you'd get promoted by now." "I tried," I said. My voice cracked. "You know I've been working nonstop," Lucas laughed. "Working? You call that working? You've been chasing dreams while I'm closing deals." "Lucas," I said, "I just need time." "Time?" he scoffed.
You've had years.
"You're 28 and still renting that dump. You think Sophie wants to live like that?" Sophie looked down. "Ethan," I waited. "But I can't keep living with uncertainty." I stared at her. "You said you loved me." "I did," she whispered. "But love doesn't pay the bills." My chest tightened. "So this is about money?" "It's about stability," she said. "About a future." Lucas stood, placing his arm casually around her shoulders. "She deserves someone who can give her that." "Lucas, don't," I said sharply. He smirked. "What, tell the truth?" My mother turned to me, her tone cutting. "Ethan, enough. You embarrass yourself." "Lucas has always been the responsible one. You've been nothing but a disappointment." "Mom, I've done everything I could," I said. "I didn't ask for help, just support." "You've had enough support," my father said. "We paid for your education, your rent, your mistakes. It's time you grow up." "I am trying," I shouted. "You just never see it." The room fell silent for a moment. The rain outside hit the windows harder. I could hear my own heartbeat. Lucas stepped closer. "You're angry because you know I'm right. You've wasted years chasing fantasies." "I built things you'll never understand," I said quietly. "I worked because I believed I could make something real. And what do you have to show for it?" He sneered. "Nothing yet," I said, "but I'm not done." Sophie's voice trembled. "Ethan, please stop. Don't make this harder." I turned to her. "Harder? You're leaving me, aren't you?" She looked away.
Lucas and I...
"We didn't plan this. It just happened." I felt my stomach twist. "You're with him?" Lucas didn't even flinch. "She deserves a man who can take care of her." I laughed bitterly. "You mean someone rich enough to impress her mother?" "Watch your mouth," Lucas said. "Or what?" I stepped forward. "You'll steal something else from me?" My mother's voice snapped like a whip. "Enough, Ethan! Get out!" I looked at her in disbelief. "You're throwing me out?" She didn't blink. "You've done nothing but bring shame to this family." "Mom, please," I said, my voice shaking. "I have nowhere to go." "That's not our problem," my father said flatly. "You made your choices." I looked at each of them, my family, my blood, and felt something break inside me. Sophie took off her engagement ring. She hesitated, then placed it in Lucas's hand. "I'm sorry," she whispered. For a second, I couldn't breathe. "You're sorry?" She nodded. "I hope someday you'll understand." I stared at the ring, at her trembling fingers, at Lucas's smug smile. "I understand perfectly," I said. "You all made it clear," Lucas chuckled. "Don't make this dramatic, little brother. You'll thank us later. Thank you," I whispered. "For destroying me?" "For waking you up," he said. I took a deep breath. "You'll regret this night." "Threats won't help you," my father said. "Go find a job, a life, whatever it is you think you can build." "I will," I said. "And when I do, don't come looking for me," my mother scoffed. "We won't." I walked to the door. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself not to look back. Sophie called out softly, "Ethan, please don't hate me." I turned slightly. "You made that easy." The door slammed behind me. The rain hit my face like needles. My jacket clung to my skin. I stood there staring at the mansion's lights, realizing they would never open that door again. For a long time, I just stood in the storm, trying to feel something. Anger, sadness, anything. But all I felt was emptiness. I whispered to myself, if I ever get another chance, I won't beg. Not for love, not for family, not for anyone. The wind howled back, carrying my words into the night. I started walking, leaving everything behind. My home, my heart, my name. That was the night I stopped being Ethan Cole, the son they disowned. That was the night I became the man they would one day fear. The rain hadn't stopped since that night. I walked for hours, no coat, no umbrella, just the sound of my shoes slapping the wet pavement. My stomach growled so loud it hurt. I laughed at the sound. It felt almost human compared to the silence that followed me. I found an alley behind a diner. The smell of food made me dizzy. I knocked on the back door. A man opened it, wiping his hands on a greasy apron. Got leftovers? I asked. He looked me up and down. We're closed. Please, I said. Just something small. He frowned. Try the shelter 2 blocks down. Before I could speak again, he shut the door. The clang echoed like a gunshot. I slid down the wall and sat in the puddles. My phone blinked with 1% battery. A message from Lucas flashed. Stop calling Mom. She doesn't want to see you. Then another from Sophie. Move on, Ethan. Please. I whispered to the empty alley. Move on? To what? The screen went black. That tiny light gone. Just like me, I buried my face in my hands. The cold cut deep, but the betrayal cut deeper. I remembered Sophie's voice, soft but cruel. Love doesn't pay the bills. I remembered my mother's disgust, my father's silence, my brother's smirk. They all looked at me like I was nothing. Maybe I was. I said it aloud. I was nothing to them. A laugh escaped my throat, rough and hollow. Guess they were right. I lay down, my back against the wall.
Rain soaked my clothes, but I was too tired to move.
My chest felt heavy. My eyes stung. Every breath hurt more than the last. Is this how it ends? I asked the dark sky. Like garbage in an alley? No answer. Just thunder. I thought about the years I wasted trying to make them proud. Every sleepless night, every broken promise, every fake smile. For what? To end up here, starving and alone? I coughed, my voice shaking. If I had one more chance. Just one. The world blurred. I blinked, trying to focus, but the edges of everything melted. My heartbeat slowed, faint like a whisper. Then everything went still. Darkness swallowed me whole. I don't know how long it lasted. Seconds, minutes, maybe eternity. Then somewhere in the void I heard a sound, soft, rhythmic, familiar. Beep, beep, beep. My eyes snapped open. I was staring at a ceiling. A small one? Yellow light flickered from a bulb I recognized. My heart raced. I sat up, gasping. This can't be. The room smelled of old paint and cheap coffee. My desk was cluttered with papers. My laptop hummed faintly. A calendar on the wall caught my eye. I froze. March 4th, 2015, 10 years ago. I stumbled to the mirror. My face looked younger. No beard, no scars, no exhaustion carved into my skin. My hands trembled. I'm back? My phone buzzed on the table. The same model I lost years ago. I picked it up and saw names I hadn't seen in a decade. A message from Sophie. Morning, love. Dinner tonight? Another from Lucas. Don't forget the family meeting this weekend. My hands shook so hard the phone almost fell. This isn't real, I whispered. It can't be real, but the messages were real. The calendar was real. The air, the light, the heartbeat pounding in my chest, real. I laughed softly, half in disbelief, half in madness. I died, and now I'm here. The realization hit like lightning. I wasn't dreaming. I was alive. I'd been sent back, to the moment before everything went wrong. I looked around the apartment, the same place I once hated for being small and cheap. Now it felt sacred, like a new beginning. I sat on the edge of the bed, clutching my head. If this is real, then I can change everything. Sophie's message blinked again. I stared at her name, at the little heart beside it. My stomach turned. You don't know what you're about to do, I said softly, but this time I do. My reflection stared back at me from the mirror, familiar but harder now. I whispered, I won't be that man again. The phone rang. It was Lucas. My hand hovered over the screen, but I didn't answer. Instead, I walked to the window. The city stretched out before me, glowing with the same cold light it always had. But tonight it looked different, like a battlefield waiting for me to take my place. I took a deep breath, steady and deliberate. "You threw me away once," I murmured. "Now watch what happens when I stop begging." The night outside flickered with lightning again. I smiled faintly for the first time in years, no, in lifetimes. "This time," I said, "the story starts my way." The first morning after I woke up, everything looked too bright, too real. My phone buzzed again and again. Texts from Sophie, my mother, even Lucas. I stared at their names, half expecting it all to vanish. Sophie called. I let it ring once before answering. "Darling," she said, cheerful and sweet, "you disappeared last night." "Are you okay?" "I just needed some air," I replied. My voice sounded calm, but inside I was watching every word, every tone. "You didn't forget dinner tonight, did you?" "No," I said. "I'll be there." "Good," she said. "Mom wants to see you too. Be on time." When she hung up, I stared at the black screen. Same voice. Same warmth. But now I knew exactly how false it was. I muttered, "You'll smile at me tonight, and I'll smile back. Let's see who plays better." By noon, Lucas called. "Little brother," he said, "you finally picked up." "I've been busy," I said. "Busy doing what? You still working at that joke of a company?" "Still," I said. "But maybe not for long," he laughed. "Still dreaming, huh? Anyway, family dinner this weekend. Mom wants you sharp. Don't embarrass us." "Sure," I said flatly. "Good man," he said, and hung up. I put the phone down and leaned back in my chair. They sounded so alive, so confident. They had no idea what was coming, I whispered. "Enjoy it while it lasts." Later that afternoon, I went to the cafe near my old office. The same bell chimed when I opened the door. Behind the counter, Maya looked up. "Ethan?" she said, smiling. "You look like you haven't slept." "I guess I haven't," I said. "It's been a weird week," she leaned forward. "Weird how?" "I just realized some people aren't who I thought they were." She nodded slowly. "You mean Sophie?" I raised an eyebrow. "You always knew more than you said," she smirked. "She's loud. You're quiet." "I listen," I laughed softly. "I missed this place." "You make it sound like you've been gone for years," she said. "Maybe I have," I whispered. She tilted her head. "You okay?" "Better than ever," I said. "Actually, I wanted your help." "With what?" "Something small." "Do you still have that friend who works in finance?" "Jacob?" she asked. "Yeah, why?" "I need to invest in something. Quietly. Something that looks crazy now but won't be later." She narrowed her eyes. "That's vague." "It has to be," I said. "You trust me?" She sighed. "I don't know why, but yeah." "I always do," I smiled. "Then you'll see soon enough." She tapped the counter. "Coffee's on the house. You look like you could use it," I nodded. "Thanks, Maya, really." When I walked out, the air felt lighter. Talking to her reminded me of the one good thing I had left in my old life, someone who cared without a reason. By evening, I was back in my apartment, checking the markets on my laptop. The same startup I remembered, one that would explode in 5 years, was struggling now, desperate for early investors. I sent in a small amount, nothing suspicious. "Step 1, I whispered. "Plant the seed." I opened another tab and started writing notes. Every name, every company, every opportunity I had lost before, I listed them all. I knew where the world was going now. I wouldn't waste it. My phone buzzed again. "Sophie." "Hey," she said when I answered. "You sound distracted." "Just working," I said. She laughed softly. "You working this late? That's new. I'm trying to be better," I said. "Well, I like this new version of you," she said. "Don't be late tonight. Mom's already setting the table." "I'll be there soon," I said, forcing a smile into my voice. When I arrived at her house, the same smell of perfume and candles hit me. She opened the door, glowing in a red dress. "You look amazing," I said. She grinned. Finally, a compliment. We sat at dinner with her parents, smiling and pretending everything was fine. They asked about work, money, plans, always plans. I played my part. Her mother said, "Sophie tells us you're ambitious." "That's good. You'll need that to take care of her." I nodded politely. "I plan to do exactly that." Lucas's words echoed in my head. "Don't embarrass us." Sophie reached under the table and squeezed my hand. "See? They like you," I smiled. "Of course they do." Inside, though, I felt the heat of every memory. The laughter. The betrayal. The night she placed her ring in Lucas's hand. It was all still waiting in the future. Her father raised his glass. "To new beginnings," I lifted mine. "To lessons learned," Sophie laughed. "You sound mysterious tonight." "Maybe I am," I said. "You'll find out." After dinner, she walked me to the door. "You're different," she said softly. "Is that bad?" "No," she said, "just colder." "Maybe I finally grew up," I said. She touched my face. "Whatever it is, I like it." I caught her wrist gently. "Be careful what you like, Sophie. It might change faster than you think," she frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled faintly. "Nothing. Just thinking out loud." She leaned in and kissed me goodnight. For a second, it almost felt real again. Then I remembered everything, and the warmth turned to ice. Walking back through the quiet streets, I whispered, "You don't know it yet, but you taught me everything I needed." The night breeze brushed against my face. I looked up at the stars, at the city lights flickering below them. "This time," I said, "I'll play along. But when the storm comes, I won't be the one drowning." When I walked into Mr. Grant's office, the scent of polished wood and old money hit me like a memory I wished I could erase. He looked up from his desk and smiled, the same practiced grin he'd used before he stabbed me in the back years ago. "Ethan Cole," he said, standing up. "Didn't think I'd see you again." "Surprise," I said, forcing a polite smile. "I've been working on something you might want to hear," he laughed. "Last I heard, you were barely keeping your head above water." "I learned how to swim," I replied. "And I know where the tide's going next," he leaned forward. "You've got my attention. Talk." "I've been looking into a small tech startup," I said. "They're developing something that could change mobile encryption. Not many investors believe in them yet," he chuckled. "So you want me to throw money at some kids with laptops?" "Not exactly," I said. "I just thought you'd like to get ahead before the rest of the market wakes up." His eyes narrowed. "And what do you get out of it?" "Nothing," I said easily. "Just thought you deserved a tip for all the advice you gave me." He smiled again, fake, sharp. "Still the loyal one, huh?" "Always," I said. "At least that's what people think." He didn't notice the edge in my tone. He leaned back, already picturing profits. "You've got guts coming here. Maybe you've learned something after all." "Maybe," I said. "You'll see soon enough." When I walked out of his office, I could feel his gaze burning into my back. He thought he'd won again, that I was the same naive kid eager for approval. He had no idea he was sitting on a gold mine because I wanted him to. That night I called Maya. "You did it, didn't you?" she asked. "I met him," I said. "And?" "He took the bait. Do you trust him?" I laughed. "No, but he trusts me and that's better," she sighed. "You're playing with fire, Ethan." "I've been burned before," I said. "Now I know where to hold the lighter." The next few days blurred together. I spent every hour pretending to chase Mr. Grant's approval, feeding him bits of information while quietly building my own position behind the scenes. Lucas called one evening. "Still chasing your startup fantasy?" he said mockingly. "I am," I said. "Someone has to see the future before everyone else does," he laughed. "You and your big dreams. You'll end up broke again." "Maybe," I said. "But at least I'll go down trying," he snorted. "You always did talk big." "Mom says you should focus on real work, not imaginary riches." "Tell her I'll send a postcard when my imaginary money turns real," I said. He hung up, laughing. I didn't mind. Every word he said fueled me. Later, Sophie texted, "Still wasting time on those fake companies? You'll never change." I stared at the screen and typed back, "We'll see." She read it instantly, but didn't reply. I looked out the window of my small apartment, city lights flickering against the dark sky. Every one of them reminded me how many people were living blind, chasing the same illusions. "Not me, not anymore." Maya called again the next day. "Jacob confirmed the transfer," she said. "You're officially an investor." "Good," I said. "Now we wait," she hesitated. "You really think this company will make it?" "I know it will," I said, "because I've already seen it happen once." She didn't understand what I meant, but she trusted me enough not to ask. A week later, I got an email from Mr. Grant. "You were right. Their prototype caught attention. Investors are circling. I want you on the project team, I smiled. The same man who once fired me without a word was now inviting me to sit beside him. When I met him again, he clapped my shoulder. You've got instincts, kid. Stick with me, and you'll go far. I plan to, I said. As he walked away, I added quietly, farther than you'll ever know. Outside, the air felt crisp and new. I called Maya. He took me in, I said. She exhaled. So what's next? The first move is done, I said. Now I build from the inside. She hesitated. And when he realizes what you're really doing? By then, I said, it'll be too late. I hung up and slipped my phone into my pocket. My reflection in the glass door stared back, steady, focused, colder than before. I whispered, you thought I was naive once. This time I'm the storm you can't see coming. The city hummed around me, unaware that a new game had already begun. The weeks turned into months, and for once I didn't chase anyone's approval. I woke up early, worked quietly, and kept my phone on silent. The fewer words I gave them, the more restless they became. Maya noticed it first. You've changed, she said one morning over coffee. Is that good or bad? I asked. Both, she said. You look calmer, but your eyes, they don't rest anymore. I don't have the luxury of rest, I said. Not yet. By then, the startup's valuation had doubled. Mr. Grant was thrilled, convinced it was his genius. I let him believe it. The more he took credit, the more leverage I gained. At home, things were shifting too. Lucas's company started losing small investors, quietly, steadily. The same investors I'd redirected towards safer waters. My father didn't say anything, but his calls came more often. Ethan, he said one evening, his tone carefully neutral, your brother's facing some difficulties. I heard, I said. Maybe you could help. You've always had good instincts for business. I almost laughed. You mean the same instincts you said were useless? He hesitated. I might have been harsh. Things change. So do people, I said, and ended the call. Later, Lucas sent a text. You think you're better than us now? I replied, no. I just stopped pretending we're on the same team. He didn't answer after that. That night, Sophie came by. I hadn't seen her in weeks. She stood in my doorway, nervous. You don't call anymore, she said. I've been busy, I replied. With what? Work, life, myself, she frowned. You used to tell me everything. Yeah, I said softly. That was my mistake. She stepped closer, her perfume familiar but distant now. You sound like a stranger. Maybe you never knew me, I said, her voice cracked. Don't say that. It's true. You loved me when I was easy to control, when I needed you. She bit her lip. That's not fair. It's honest, I said. She looked around my apartment, neater now, minimal, controlled. You've changed everything. I had to, I said. I was drowning before. And now? Now I swim alone, she crossed her arms. You're pushing everyone away. I'm just not chasing ghosts anymore. Her eyes glistened. What happened to you, Ethan? I met her gaze and said, I stopped needing people who only love me when I'm winning. Silence. The kind that cuts deeper than shouting. She finally whispered, You're not the same man I fell in love with. I know, I said. That's the point. When she left, I didn't watch her go. The sound of the door closing was quieter than I expected. The next morning, Maya called. You okay? Better than okay, I said. You sound empty. Maybe I am, I admitted. But emptiness makes room for better things. At work, Mr. Grant was in rare form, shaking hands and making promises he didn't intend to keep. He called me into his office. The investors love us, he said. We're expanding next quarter. I'll make sure you're taken care of. Appreciate it, I said, hiding my smile. He leaned back, smug. You've come a long way, Ethan. I misjudged you. You're not the only one, I said. After the meeting, I checked my messages, 2 missed calls from my mother, 1 from Lucas, and 3 from Sophie. I didn't answer any of them. That evening, I met Maya at the cafe again. She watched me quietly before speaking. You know what scares me? She said. What? You look like someone who's winning, but you talk like someone who's waiting for war. I smiled faintly. Maybe both are true, she sighed. You don't have to fight everyone, Ethan. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm just Done losing, she looked down. Promise me one thing. When you finally win, don't forget how to live. I nodded but didn't answer. Some promises aren't meant to be kept. That night, I sat alone in my apartment watching the city lights. My laptop screen glowed with numbers, profits, shares, projections. Everything was moving exactly as planned. Lucas's company was bleeding investors. Mr. Grant's ego was growing faster than his caution. Sophie was confused, my family uneasy. I should have felt satisfaction, maybe even triumph. Instead, there was only quiet. I whispered to myself, "This is what peace looks like before the storm." My phone buzzed again. Sophie. I ignored it. Then another message came from Maya. "Don't lose yourself in revenge. It's a lonely victory," I typed back. I already lost myself once. This time I'm taking him back. When I set the phone down, I caught my reflection in the window, calm, cold, unrecognizable. The rain began to fall again, tapping softly against the glass. I closed my eyes and listened. The same sound that had once drowned my pain, now reminding me how far I'd come. The masks around me were cracking. Lucas's pride, my father's silence, Sophie's perfect smile. But mine? Mine was still solid, and until the storm hit, I intended to keep it that way. It started small, whispers in boardrooms, quiet calls behind closed doors, numbers that didn't add up. Lucas didn't notice at first. He was too busy showing off his new car and talking about future expansions. I watched from the sidelines, patient. One morning, Maya called me. "You did it, didn't you?" she asked. I kept my voice calm. "Did what?" "Don't play innocent. The rumors about Lucas's company, they're spreading like wildfire." "I didn't start them," I said. "I just stopped keeping his secrets," she sighed. "You knew what would happen." "I knew what truth would do," I said. By the end of the week, the financial blogs had picked up the story. Coal Dynamics faces liquidity crisis. Lucas's name was everywhere, followed by words like mismanagement and debt concealment. Mom called me first. "Ethan, what's going on with your brother?" she asked, voice trembling. "You'd know better than I do," I said. "Don't be cruel," she pleaded. "He's under a lot of pressure." "So was I said. "No one cared then." "That's different," she said quickly. "Is it?" I asked. "Or do you only notice problems when they touch your comfort?" She hung up without another word. Later that night, Lucas showed up at my apartment. His perfect hair was a mess, his shirt wrinkled. He didn't knock, he just barged in. "You think this is funny?" he snapped. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me," he shouted. "You've been feeding people stories, haven't you?" I stood, keeping my tone steady. "I didn't tell lies, Lucas. I just let the truth breathe. You destroyed me." "No," I said softly. "You did that yourself." "I just opened the window," he clenched his fists. "You've always been jealous?" "Jealous?" I laughed. "You had everything handed to you." "I had to beg for scraps." He stepped closer. "You think you're better than me now?" "No," I said. "I just stopped pretending you were the golden boy." He stared at me, breathing hard. "You'll regret this." "I already did," I said. "For 10 years. He left, slamming the door behind him. I listened to his footsteps fade down the hall, my heartbeat strangely steady. The next morning, the news was worse. Investors had pulled out. Lucas's company stock crashed 40% overnight. Reporters camped outside his office. His board demanded explanations he couldn't give. Sophie called that afternoon. "Ethan," she said cautiously, "Lucas is falling apart." "I know. They're saying he falsified reports." I heard. "You sound so calm." "Did you know this would happen?" I hesitated. "I knew what kind of man he was." Her voice trembled. "He's your brother." "So?" I said. "Family didn't stop him from stepping on me when I was down." "That's not the same. It's exactly the same." She was quiet for a long time. Then she whispered, "You've changed, Ethan." "I had to," I said. "No," she said. "You chose to." "Maybe," I said. "But at least this version of me doesn't beg." When the call ended, I leaned back in my chair. Outside, the rain had started again, soft and steady. It was strange, how storms always came when endings began. That evening, Dad finally called. "Ethan," he said, voice low. "I don't know what's happening, But your brother's in serious trouble. I know. Can you help him? I could. Then do it, he said sharply. He's still your blood, I paused. So was I, he exhaled hard. This isn't the time for grudges. You're right, I said. It's the time for consequences. He didn't reply. The silence stretched before he said quietly, You sound like a stranger. I became one the day you all stopped seeing me. When I hung up, I felt nothing. Not victory, not joy, just emptiness that echoed in my chest. The next day, Lucas appeared on the news, pale and defeated. His smile was gone. His confidence cracked. I watched him stutter through a press conference, trying to spin the disaster. Maya messaged me, You got what you wanted. How does it feel? I typed back, Quiet. She replied, Quiet isn't always peace. I didn't respond. That night, Sophie showed up at my door again. She didn't knock.
He's broken, she said.
They might fire him tomorrow. I'm aware. You could stop this. I could, I said. But why would I? Because you're not like him. I looked at her. Aren't I? She stepped closer, eyes pleading. This isn't you. The man I loved, he had a heart. I met her gaze. That man died in an alley 10 years ago. The one standing here learned not to trust hearts. They just get used. She swallowed hard. So you'll just watch him fall? I already did, I said. Once it was me. Now it's his turn. She turned toward the door. You think revenge will heal you? No, I said. But it'll remind me I existed. When she left, I sank into my chair. My hands trembled slightly. I looked at the dark window, my reflection ghost-like against the city lights. I whispered to myself, You wanted justice. You got it. So why does it feel hollow? The next day, I saw the headlines. Coal Dynamics CEO steps down amid scandal. Lucas was finished. The golden boy had fallen. Mom texted, Your brother's broken. Are you happy now? I stared at the message for a long time before replying, No, just done. Maya called later. It's over, she said softly. Yeah, and now? I don't know, I said. Maybe I'll finally sleep, she paused. Ethan, sometimes the past doesn't need revenge. It needs burial. I'll think about it, I said, though I knew I wouldn't. That night, I stood by the window, the city glowing beneath me. Lucas's empire was ashes. The family that once worshipped him now whispered my name with fear and confusion. I should have felt powerful. Instead, I felt tired. I whispered into the quiet room, I won the war, but lost the reason I started fighting. Outside, thunder rolled again, the sound of endings or maybe beginnings. The call came on a Sunday morning. My mother's voice trembled through the line, soft but rehearsed. Ethan, it's been a while, she said. It has, I replied. She hesitated. You've done well for yourself. The family's proud. The family? I asked. Or just you? She sighed. Can't we move past this? Your father wants to see you. Why now? Because we need you, she said finally. Lucas's situation has worsened. Investors are gone, and your father, he's struggling to keep things together. There it was. Not love, not regret, need. I'll come by, I said, for old time's sake. When I pulled up to the mansion, the place looked smaller than I remembered. The same white pillars, the same expensive cars, but the glow was gone. The air felt colder, emptier. The maid opened the door with a stiff nod. They're in the dining room, sir. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing across the marble floor. Every sound reminded me of that night years ago. The shouting, the ring hitting the floor, the door closing behind me. My father stood at the head of the table, older now, eyes duller. Lucas sat across from him, jaw clenched, staring at his plate. Sophie was there too, pretending to admire her glass of wine. Mom was the first to speak. Ethan, she said, smiling too brightly. You look different. I am, I said. My father rose slowly. Welcome home, son. I looked at his outstretched hand. I was never your son when I needed you. The room froze. Mom's smile faltered. Lucas looked up, anger flickering in his eyes. Don't start, he said. We're here to talk business. Business? I said. You mean cleaning up your mess? He glared. You think you're better than us because you got lucky? Luck had nothing to do with it, I said. It's amazing what happens when you're not busy lying. Mom raised her voice. Stop it, both of you. We're still family, I laughed softly. You only remember that word when it benefits you. Sophie finally spoke, her tone quiet. Ethan, please. This isn't helping, I turned to her. Funny coming from someone who helped throw me out. Her eyes dropped. I was young, scared. You were selfish, I said. You all were. Dad cleared his throat. Enough. We didn't ask you here to fight. Then why did you? I asked. To ask for help, he said. Lucas can save the company with the right backing. You have resources now. You thought I'd rescue the same empire that threw me into the street? He met my gaze, jaw tight. It's still your family name on the door. Exactly why I burned that door down, I said. Lucas slammed his hand on the table. You're pathetic. You think destroying me makes you strong? I didn't destroy you, I said. You did that all by yourself. He stood up. I built everything while you ran away. You don't deserve any of this. I stepped closer. You built it on lies and arrogance. I just pulled the curtain back. Mom's voice broke. Please, Ethan, we've lost so much already. We can't lose you too. You lost me years ago, I said quietly. You just never noticed. The silence that followed was sharp enough to cut. Sophie's voice trembled. Ethan, you've changed. Yes, I said. Because pain teaches faster than privilege. Dad's face softened for the first time. We were wrong, he said quietly. I raised an eyebrow. About what? About you, he said. About everything. I waited for sincerity, but all I saw was fear. The fear of losing power. I'm not here for your apologies, I said. I just wanted to see if you'd pretend long enough to make it believable. Lucas scoffed. You came to gloat. That's all? Maybe, I said. Or maybe I came to watch the house that exiled me crumble from the inside. He pointed at me, voice shaking. You'll regret this one day. I already did, I said. Now it's your turn. Mom reached across the table, tears in her eyes. Ethan, please. Can't we start over? I looked at her hand, trembling, desperate. You can't start over from a place you never began. I turned to leave, but Sophie's voice stopped me. Ethan, she said softly. Do you still hate me? I paused. No, hate takes energy. I just don't care anymore. When I reached the door, my father called out, You can't turn your back on blood forever. I looked over my shoulder. You already did. Outside, the air was colder than before. The wind carried the faint sound of voices behind me, pleading, arguing, breaking. I didn't turn around. Maya called as I walked to my car. How did it go? She asked. They asked for help, I said. And you said? I reminded them who they made me, she sighed. Do you feel better? No, I said. Just finished. I started the engine, watching the mansion through the windshield. The same windows, the same lights, but I wasn't the same man who once begged to stay there. As I drove away, I whispered to myself, Home isn't where you're born. It's where you stop bleeding. The mansion shrank in the rearview mirror until it disappeared completely. The city looked smaller from my office window. The skyline that once intimidated me now felt like a trophy case, filled with things I no longer cared about. Maya walked in, holding 2 cups of coffee. You didn't sleep again, did you? I shook my head. Sleep's overrated. You've been saying that for months, she said. You built everything you dreamed of. Why do you still look like you lost? Because maybe I did, I muttered. She sat across from me, studying my face. You got your revenge, Ethan. Isn't that what you wanted? At first, I said. Now it just feels heavy. Heavy? Like I'm still standing in that rain, just dressed better. She was silent for a moment. Maybe revenge doesn't end anything. Maybe it just changes the pain's name. I looked at her, half smiling. Since when did you get so poetic? Since I got tired of watching you drown in success. I chuckled softly, though her words hit deeper than I admitted. The door opened suddenly. Sophie stood there, eyes red, hands trembling. Ethan, can I talk to you? Maya glanced at me. I'll give you 2 a minute, she said before leaving. The room went still. Sophie stood by the window, unable to meet my eyes. You look good, she said quietly. Rich looks the same on anyone, I replied. She turned toward me. You hate me, don't you? I don't think about you enough to hate you. She flinched, then whispered, I made a mistake. I laughed bitterly. You didn't make a mistake, Sophie. You made a choice. Her lips trembled. Lucas promised me everything. I thought he'd protect me. You thought I'd always be beneath you, I said. You were right for a while. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry, Ethan, I was stupid. I was scared. Scared of what? I asked. That loving me meant being poor? That standing by me would ruin your comfort? She wiped her face.
You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I interrupted.
You loved the life more than the person in it. She broke down then, sobbing into her hands. I've lost everything. Lucas is gone, your family won't speak to me, I have nowhere to go. That's the same line I used when I begged you to stay, I said. You walked away then. She looked up, desperate. Please, Ethan. I'm not asking for money. Just what? I asked quietly. I just want to know if you ever loved me, she whispered. The question hung in the air like smoke. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who once swore she'd stand by me was now shaking in front of me, broken in the same way I once was. I did, I said finally, more than I should have. Then help me, she pleaded. I am, I said softly. By not letting you pull me back, she took a step closer. You've changed. I had to, I said. Pain doesn't ask for permission, it just rewires you. She stared at me, eyes filled with regret. I never meant to hurt you that much. You didn't, I said. You just showed me what people are capable of. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was suffocating. I don't expect forgiveness, she said. I just needed to say I was sorry. And I needed to hear it, I said. But it doesn't fix anything. She nodded slowly. Goodbye, Ethan. I watched her walk out, her footsteps fading down the hall. Maya returned, holding her phone. She gone? Yeah. She looked destroyed. She should, I said quietly. She helped build the man who destroyed her world. Maya sat beside me. Do you feel better now? No, I said. I just feel empty. That's because revenge feeds the fire but never fills the hole, she said. I sighed. You're too wise for someone who still forgets her car keys every day. She laughed softly. That's what keeps me human. We sat in silence. Outside, the city lights flickered like fading stars. Do you ever think forgiveness is strength? I asked. It is, she said. But only if you forgive to move forward, not to forget. Her words lingered. I thought about that night in the rain, about the man I used to be, the one who begged, who cried, who still believed love meant loyalty. I'm trying, I said quietly. Maya smiled. That's all anyone can do. As she left, I looked at my reflection in the dark glass. The suit, the power, the empire, none of it hid the boy still standing there, drenched and alone. For the first time, I whispered to him, "You can stop fighting now." And for a moment, it felt like he heard me. When Lucas called, I almost didn't answer. His name flashing on my screen felt surreal, like a ghost reaching out from a grave I'd buried years ago. I picked up anyway. What do you want, Lucas? His voice trembled. Ethan, I need to see you. I leaned back in my chair. You've got 5 minutes. An hour later, he stood in my office, thinner, older, and stripped of the arrogance he once wore like armor. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot. Nice place, he muttered, glancing around. You've done well for yourself. Yeah, I said. Hard work pays off. Sometimes karma does too, he winced. I deserve that. Silence stretched between us. I watched him fidget, something he'd never done before. He finally said, I lost everything. The company's gone. Investors pulled out. Sophie left, I heard, I said. Word travels fast when a golden boy falls. He sat down, voice cracking. Ethan, please. You don't understand what it's like. I cut him off. You're right. I don't know what it's like to lose something you stole. His face fell. I didn't mean for things to go that way. I was young, stupid. You were cruel, I said sharply. You enjoyed watching me beg. He looked down. Mom and Dad pushed me to... Stop! I snapped. Don't hide behind them. You wanted everything I had, my position, my fiancé, my future, and you got it. He swallowed hard. And now I've lost it all. Then maybe you finally understand what it feels like. For a moment, the only sound was the hum of the air conditioner. He rubbed his hands together, voice breaking. I'm sorry, Ethan. I know it's too late, but I mean it. I need help. I laughed, not bitterly this time, just tired. Help? The last time I asked for help, you threw my things into the street. I regret that every day, he said. I was wrong. You don't say, I replied. Now you're here because you've run out of options. He nodded slowly. Yes, I stared at him, the brother who once looked untouchable. I thought I'd enjoy this moment more, the reversal, the poetic justice. But all I felt was a hollow ache. Ethan, he said softly, I know you don't owe me anything. But please, if there's any part of you that still sees me as your brother. I leaned forward. You called me useless, remember? His eyes glistened. I remember. You told me I'd never make it. I did. And now? I was wrong, he whispered. I stood up, walked to my desk drawer, and pulled out an envelope. It wasn't thick, but it wasn't empty either. I placed it in front of him. What's this? He asked. Money, I said. Not much. Enough to eat, maybe start over. He hesitated. You're helping me? I shook my head. No, I'm paying you, he frowned. Paying me? Yeah, I said quietly. For teaching me what betrayal feels like. He opened the envelope, his hands shaking. You don't have to do this. I do, I said. So we're even. You get something, I get closure. Tears welled in his eyes. You're better than me, I shook my head. No, just different now. He stood, clutching the envelope. Thank you, he said, voice breaking. I don't deserve this. You're right, I replied. But neither did I deserve what you did. He nodded, eyes filled with shame. You really changed. I had to, I said. Pain's a good teacher. He turned toward the door, then paused. Ethan, do you ever miss how things were before all this? I thought for a long moment. No, I said finally. Because before all this, I was blind. He didn't reply. He just nodded and walked out, shoulders slumped, the great Lucas Cole reduced to silence. When the door closed, I exhaled, the sound almost foreign to me. Maya walked in moments later. That was your brother, wasn't it? Yeah, what did he want? Help, I said. And you gave it? In a way, she studied me. You don't look happy. I'm not, I admitted. Revenge doesn't taste sweet, it just stops the hunger. She leaned on the desk. Maybe now you can stop feeding it. I smiled faintly. Maybe. Outside, the sky darkened. I watched the rain begin to fall, slow and familiar. It looked like that night again, the night they threw me out. Only this time, I wasn't the one standing in it. Maya said softly, You did what he never would have done for you. Maybe that's why I'll sleep better tonight, I said. Will you? I'll try. We stood there, watching the rain streak down the glass. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pity either. Just peace, strange, quiet peace. The world had finally turned full circle. The morning air was quiet when I stood outside the old house. The same gates that once closed behind me still creaked, only now, they didn't feel like walls. They felt like endings. Maya's car idled behind me. You sure you want to do this? She asked. I nodded. I need to. She leaned against the door. You don't owe them anything. I know, I said. That's exactly why I can walk in there now. When I stepped through the gates, memories hit like echoes. My mother's voice calling me a burden. My brother laughing as I packed my things, Sophie turning away. Every word, every silence replayed in the wind. Inside, they were waiting. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. My father stood beside her, his posture heavy with years of pretending strength. Lucas sat in the corner, quiet, eyes hollow. Sophie was there too, arms crossed, face pale. Ethan, my mother whispered. You came. I did, I said calmly. You asked, my father cleared his throat. We're glad you're here. Glad? I smiled faintly. That's new. Ethan, please, he said. Don't start with anger. I'm not angry, I said. That version of me's gone. Lucas spoke next, his voice hoarse. You have every right to hate me. I don't, I said quietly. Hate gives you power you don't deserve. Sophie looked up. You've changed, I met her eyes. You helped me, she frowned. By breaking you? By forcing me to rebuild, I said. You showed me what I wasn't so I could find what I am. My mother started crying. We were wrong. About everything, I know, I said. But I'm not here for apologies. Then why are you here? She asked. To say goodbye, I said simply. My father stepped forward. Ethan, you're family. Was I family when you watched me walk out in the rain? He looked away. I made mistakes. We all did, I said. But mistakes only matter when we learn from them. Lucas's voice cracked. And what did you learn? That I don't need validation to have worth, I said. That success means nothing if you lose your soul getting there. And that forgiveness isn't for them, it's for me. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Do you forgive me? I looked at her for a long moment. I forgive you for being human. I don't forget what it cost me, she nodded slowly. You really did become someone new, I smiled faintly. No, Sophie. I just stopped being who you told me I was. My mother reached for my hand. Can we start over? I hesitated, then gently pulled away. You need to heal with the people still standing beside you. I've already started my own life. Who helped you? My father asked quietly. Maya, I said.
The one person who saw me when I had nothing.
Who never wanted anything in return. Sophie lowered her gaze. She's lucky. No, I said softly. I am. The room fell silent. The air felt heavy, full of unspoken things we could never fix. Lucas stood suddenly. Ethan, wait, before you go. I turned. He swallowed hard. Thank you. For not destroying me completely. I gave a small nod. You did that yourself. I just stopped saving you. My mother sobbed quietly. Please don't go like this. I have to, I said. Because staying would mean pretending the past didn't happen. And I can't do that. I turned toward the door. My father called out, Ethan! I stopped. He said softly, We're proud of you. I didn't turn around. You should have been proud when I had nothing. Outside, the air was lighter. Maya stood there waiting, her smile calm and steady. How'd it go? She asked. I said what needed saying, I replied. And? And now it's done. She handed me a cup of coffee. You look peaceful. I feel it, I said. It's strange. I thought I'd want them to hurt, but now, I just hope they heal. We started walking toward the car. Maya asked, Do you think they'll ever understand what they lost? Maybe, I said. But that's their journey, not mine, she smiled. So who are you now, Ethan Cole? I looked up at the sky, the morning sun breaking through the clouds. Someone who finally stopped living for anyone else. She laughed softly. That sounds like freedom. It is, I said. The kind they can't take away. We reached the car. I looked back one last time. The mansion, the memories, the ghosts. Then I whispered, Thank you for setting me free. Maya glanced at me. What was that?
Just saying goodbye, I said. We got in and drove off.
The house faded behind us, smaller with every turn, until it disappeared completely. For the first time in years, I didn't feel anger or sorrow. Just peace. Real, quiet peace. The man they once called useless was gone. The man I became didn't need their approval, only his own. And for the first time in my life, that was enough.